Even we have in the oil and gas sector, we have the law when it comes to the what's regulating the crude oil in Nigeria. We also have the tax law, okay, and these are all components of revenue law in Nigeria. So it's very good to understand the entire system of revenue generation when it comes to the running of governance. So government needs revenue from various sources, and we have, of course, revenue from exportation of crude oil. That's one of the source of revenue, and we also have revenue from government's own enterprises, revenue from sales of mineral resources. We have revenue from sales of agricultural products, and we have revenue from taxation. You know, in some country, the way they manage their revenue, like in Norway and the likes, you see that revenue from mineral resources, from crude oil, is used for infrastructural developments, while revenue from taxation is used for recurrent expenditure in some country. Why some is vice versa. Why some people design their revenue in such a way that the one they get from taxation for infrastructural development, while other source of revenue for recurrent expenditure. I would expect Nigerian government, because we have different revenue streams in Nigeria, to design our revenue in such a way that, if possible, our tax revenue should be used for infrastructural developments, because tax should benefit the entire populace, and why other source of income could be used for operational expenses. Because Nigerians want to feel the impact of taxation, and that's one of the current challenge you have in the country as a tax practitioner. You advise people pay your tax, they tell you what are we getting from taxation. Okay, and these are areas where we could contribute to policy discussion when it comes to tax in the country. So these are different sources of revenue in the country. So I'll be going to my next slide now. Now, definition of tax. What then is tax and what's taxation? Now, tax has different definition. But one key aspect of taxation is tax is a compulsory payment. Tax is a compulsory payment, and it is a payment to the government. And one thing about this payment is that the payment you're making, you are getting common benefits. Okay, and of course, there should be a model that determine how much you are paying, and that's the tax law. Okay, and the person making the payment. So the key thing is those benefiting from the payment could be a whole state, that's Nigerian. Like if I'm a Nigerian, I pay my tax, then as a Nigerian, I should benefit from what I'm paying, that I should be part of the pool of the common benefits that I will enjoy as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the tax law, even the tax policy, have not come up to say that this is the definition of tax. Okay, but one thing that we've seen in taxation, one thing that we've seen in taxation is that it is a compulsory payment. Okay, now sometimes there's this question between what is a levy and what is tax. What's a levy? What is tax? Tax is a form of levy. Tax is a form of levy, but it's a compulsory levy. It's not a voluntary levy. But a levy could be tax, a levy could be a penalty, it could be a fine, it could be a toll, it could be levy comes in different form. You could have one could commit an offense while driving and you are told to pay so amount because of the offense you've committed. So if you did not commit that offense, you did not drive against traffic, you will not pay that amount. So it's not compulsory, but tax is a compulsory payment that you will have to make to the government. So this is very key, and we have a lot of scholarly definition of tax. This is contained in our tax manual in the book. And of course, being part of this particular session, being part of this session, as I said, you have a copy of the book for free. So the next thing we'll be looking at in this presentation is the principle of taxation. Why do we need to know the principle of taxation? We need to know the principle of taxation because how do we contribute to the policy discussion when designing a workable or an effective tax policy when it comes to the fiscal space. We have in fact, when it comes to macroeconomic issue, we have the monetary policy, we have the fiscal policy. Now, monetary policy is within the covenant of the Central Bank of Nigeria. But we're looking at the fiscal space now. The fiscal policy, we now look at what are the key elements in the fiscal policy. One key element in the fiscal space is taxation. In fact, another key element in the fiscal space is budgeting. But we are looking more of taxation because, of course, when you have revenue, that's when you can spend. Of course, one or two discussion budgeting can come on down. That's why you see in the budget of 2021 and the budget of 2020, there's what we call Finance Act of 2019, Finance Act of 2020. Okay, so we have that because budget and taxation goes hand in hand. You cannot talk about budget without talking about how to raise revenue to finance the budget. And what are the principles of taxation? And this principle of taxation is will help you to will guide you in designing an effective tax system to guide you to design. And I said this training is not for practitioner, it's also for administrators. And this very slide is very important for administrator. Now, the first principle is the principle of equity. That's the first principle. The principle of equity. That's the first principle of taxation. Principle of equity. Meaning that when it comes to taxation, there should be equity. That means that there should be fairness. If you're earning more, then you pay more. If you're earning less, then you pay less. This is the principle of equity. So it shouldn't be you're paying less, you're earning more and you're paying less. That's not equitable. Another thing is the principle of convenience. Taxation should be convenient in terms of when you're paying your tax. You should not, you shouldn't find it difficult in paying your tax. And this is not good at all. Because as a citizen, I want to follow the law and they're making it difficult for me to pay my tax. I don't know how much to pay. I don't know who to pay to. I don't know, you have to even pay, you see network, bank network issues and the like, or you stand on the queue. But thank God, I tell you, when it comes to tax administration in Nigeria, there has been improvement. I'll tell you. Because when it was manual, I was practicing in manual, but now with the technology, I can see the difference. Although there's still some issue when it comes to convenience, there's still more to be done when it comes to convenience. And of course, we notice that even with the technology, a lot of people have not really adopted the technology rolled by both the Federal Internal Revenue Service and the State Internal Revenue Services. So convenience is very key. Let me pay with ease. Another principle of taxation is certainty. Another principle of taxation is certainty. That means that how much am I to pay as my tax? There shouldn't be debate. The tax law should be clear to know that this item is vatable, this item is not vatable. That is principle of certainty. We also have principle of simplicity. Now, the tax law is even simpler to understand. Look at the Stamp Duty Act of 1939. Now, the first Stamp Duty Act that was written, complex language. The former tax law were very complex, but